All-Americans at every level of the defense. Georgia's defense is going to be really good in 2023. But just how good?
So how about the fucking Dogs? That's what I told them.
Phil Steele is my college football preseason magazine of choice, and just recently, Mr. Steele released his All-American teams for the 2023 season. In total, there were 7 Georgia Bulldog players that made Phil Steele's All-American teams for 2023, and 4 of those were on the defensive side of the ball. Making the first team was Jamon Dumas Johnson, Georgia's defensive field general, who finished second on the team last year in total tackles. Earning second team honors were Malachi Starks, who led Georgia's defensive backs with 68 tackles and finished second on the team with 2 interceptions, as well as Javon Bullard, who started 10 games for the Dogs last year and earned defensive MVP honors in both the Peach Bowl and in the College Football Playoff National Championship game. Checking in on the third team was Georgia freshman Michael Williams. Williams finished with the second most snaps of any defensive lineman last year with 349 and led the team with 4.5 sacks, including a sack in the Peach Bowl against Ohio State, as well as against TCU in the National Championship game. Now, there were a couple of Georgia Bulldog players that I didn't see on any of Phil's lists this year. One would be Smile Munden, who led the team in tackles last year with 76 total, but didn't even play a full season. He only played 10 games, missing 2 games with injury. Smile is just always around the ball. Good things seems to happen when he's on the field. So as long as he can stay healthy, Smile Munden could very well play himself into a first-round draft pick position in next year's NFL draft. Kamari Lassiter was another name that I was a little surprised to not see mentioned somewhere, coming off a year where he had 38 total tackles, half a sack, and also had 4 passes defensed. So what does this mean for Georgia's defense in 2023? Well, what it tells me is that there is a very real possibility that Georgia could have an All-American player at every level of their defense. What? An All-American at every level of the defense? Michael Williams would be the first option at defensive line, but those other players have played a lot of snaps and are very high-quality football players. If you look at the linebackers, Jamon Dumas Johnson and Smile Munden both could very well play themselves into All-American consideration. And when you get to the back end, you're looking not only at Malachi Starks and Javon Bullard, both of which made Phil's lists, but you also have Kamari Lassiter. Any one of those 3 players, or someone we haven't even mentioned here, could have the kind of breakthrough season that would land you on an All-American list. Top to bottom and front to back, Georgia's defense is stacked with quality football players at every level. There are a lot of players that have played a ton of snaps for Georgia, snaps that actually meant something in high-pressure games. And the roster is littered with talented young players who just haven't had their opportunity yet, but are going to be counted on to make plays in 2023. The names we know will not have to do their work alone. They have a wonderful support staff around them. So I'm very interested to see who can take that big step forward for Georgia this year and become that player that every other team has to scheme against. Of course, injuries, game plan, and matchups are all going to play a key role in whether or not any of these players actually achieve the honor of being named an All-American for the 2023 season. But one thing is certain. All signs point to the fact that Georgia's defense is and will remain a dominant unit, not only in the SEC, but in college football for the foreseeable future. Go Dogs!
We will not be hunted at the University of Georgia. I can promise you that.